Hi YouTubers, I've done everything for you this week so far. We'll be going back to Patreon maybe later or tomorrow for Christmas. And I've given you quite a few to be getting on with. I've just drawn out, if you can see it, very faint, this Kent scene. Kent is a county in England which was famous for hops and being the Garden of England. You can just about see it. But an Oast house and just some outbuildings here. So I'm going to do a snow scene. I'm going to make it, it's all made up. My sort of stock buildings. And we'll wet all over. Oops, looks like it's a new border. Bit of a clean. Okay, now the day to day, it's bright, cloudy, bright, cloudy. So I've got the lights on overhead, a couple of spotlights. Well, they're spotlights, but they're not. They're these LED bulbs. They're rated at 100 watts power, but only use about 12, 14 watts of electricity. So in other words, they give out an enormous amount of light for little expense, I hope. But they're certainly brilliant light. It's not a white light. It's like a slightly pinky white, but very, very lovely. So I'm going to put a bit of a sort of raw sienna wash over all this. And remember the snow always looks white because it's in contrast to what's around it. Everything is dark around it. But if you paint it the same colour as the sky, but a weaker wash, just give that tint, you'll find that the snow does reflect the colours above it, like the sky colours in it. All right, now it's blue, so I'll put a bit of blue in. The only artist quality paint I've got on my palette of Cotman, is Jackson's own. So I just put that in very faintly. But I won't put that blue on the snow area. I've got behind these trees. I'm going to put an outline of grey for distant hills. Kent in parts is quite hilly. A bit of light red with that, and we just put in some of the clouds. Leaving some highlights like the clouds behind the white, the nice yellow. Well, let's have a little bit of strength in that lower bit here, just coming up over the horizon. Okay, and a bit of heavier stuff overhead. Okay, I won't muck about with it too much. I'm just trying to replicate what I'm looking at outside my windows. I'm very lucky to have this. My studio is a loft conversion in the old roof space, and the roof space was quite large. And I've still got a loft or storage space above it. And it's also the ironing room and as well. I've got a telescope there. You've seen views of my studio before, so I won't bore you. I've got a couple of big table spaces and all sorts of. It's a very very nice area. It's lovely to work in. The top of the house, and I'm looking out over one of two very large loft windows, and one is drawn because the sun's shining through it. I just look at the skies above and just sort of replicate them. Right, now we want a bit of that light colour. It's just very, very light. You won't be able to see the colour yet. Well, I don't know. Maybe we're overexposed. I don't know. Let's have a see if we can show that. But it's all very faint colours at the moment. Oh, come on. Oh, that's a bit better, isn't it? I just add a little bit of brightness to that. That's the exposure. That's fairly accurate. I'm going to dry it off now. I've got a hair going up there. But I'll wait for that to dry. So I'm going to mute the sound. Okay, that's about dry enough, I think. Well, it's not completely dry. I can still feel a little bit of damp in that, but the paper's lovely and flat. And with this, I've got that off. I'm going to go over with a skyline now. So it's slightly darker than I'll paint round almost the buildings. So that just about shows there. There's a bit of sparkle in there. Not a lot. Right, so that'll do for the Kent Hills. And I'm going to put a little bit of foreground in there. I think with snow, you need some things poking out of it. So my favourite is a burnt sienna and a bit of Payne's grey with a bit of KGLO thrown in. A nice warm dark, just a bit of like an earth pile, manure. Something like that. Let's have a bit of raw sienna in there. A bit of light catching some sun. Right, put a bit of a bush there. I'll have some spiky stuff coming up that later with the rigger. Right, that'll do. Bit of dark in there. And we'll just go along and just do a little bit more here and there. I don't think I'm going to put a pathway in that. The road would be up here somewhere. It's very varied colours. Just a bit sticking out of this. Right, keep that simple. So that'll be. I'll go back over that. That'll give me a chance to show some shadows in the snow. I hope anyway. I'm just going to give that background a dry because I want to get in with some trees, some winter trees. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mute that. This is on Saunders £90 weight rough. It's a fabulous paper it's not cheap. It's more expensive than the Winsor & Newton, but only because that Winsor & Newton £90 was a job lot, which has since run out. I've still got a bit of it left myself. I think Alan Owen's run out of his, but it was a wonderful paper. But this is very, very similar. It's more of a machine. Oh, I suppose, I don't know if this is probably machine made, but it is a lovely, lovely thing to work on. Right now, I'm going to use my script brush to do what I call the balloons of the trees. So we want some distant trees. So I'm going to use blue and a bit of grey because we want them in the distance, lay back. And so let's just dry brushing a little bit. And I'll put some stuff along there. A great exponent of this was an old colleague from my art group I used to belong to, Isabel Castle. She passed away some years ago, but she works a lot from Roland Hill, as have I, over the years. I mean, he's just a wonderful watercolourist, completely different to anybody else. Let's just get that in. I might have to put that cowl. The idea of the oast houses was to dry hops for beer making. I'm going to put some behind there. Right, okay. I'll let that dry off a little bit. So that'll be the background, but I'm going to put some stuff along there. So I'm just going to mute the sound and then hopefully remember to unmute. Right. I'm going to put in with the small hake, again, the Ron Ranson hake. If you're new to all of this, I really only use hakes and, well, these brushes, the flats, and hakes. That's a Frank Clark hake, as is that. These are the Ron Ranson. These are the workhorses. I use these sparingly. Rigger, a couple of riggers, a nice flat brush, half-inch flat, and that's about it really. I very seldom use sables. I'm not a sable painter. I started with sables and it's very hard to learn. It takes a long time to learn. Don't believe it when they say it's simple. It isn't simple. It just takes practice. It's not impossible. It just takes a lot of practice. But this is a simple scene in that there's no complicated drawing or anything in it. It's just washes, really. But even that takes a while to learn to do. Now I'm going to. I want a sort of a hedgerow, some different bluey greens in there. I think so. A bit of yellow, bit of blue, bit of burnt sienna. Oh, a bit more blue. All right, that's. I will detail the trunks and things. Oh, a bit more blue in there. You can always do fencing with your bit of gouache if you wish. I've started to use it quite extensively, or at least in most of the paintings I might put a highlight or two. It's very handy to have. He's looking all different. Hope you're all getting ready for Christmas and all going up the wall. Right, let's just have a little bit of different stuff in there. Let's just vary the tones. Just using the corner of the brush. Put a little bit of blue in there. See, by painting that a bit darker on there, it gives me the possibility of putting some white gouache as a fence post. Alright, well, just go along here. Ultramarine and burnt sienna. This is the Winsor and Newton burnt sienna. I don't use brownie, it's too light for me. This is a sort of the burnt sienna in the Cotman range. It's like a very dark browny red, and it just goes. That's a great mixer with the Payne's grey and ultramarine, cad yellow. So let's put some more. Oh, I like that. Let's put some more of this here. Nice dark and richer blue. Kind of pieced here. Oh yeah, enjoying this. It's all texture, isn't it? Got textures and washes. So trying to get things looking different. Okay, let's go and do a bit of work on those houses. Now I'm going to wet. The third light's coming from here. I'm going to wet that roof there. They're usually tiled. Well, they are tiled, brick building tiled, but I've seen wooden ones as well. So we'll have it a bit burnt umber. And I tell you, Roland Hilda used to use a lot of black. Now that should have melted into into that area here. That's better. We'll put a bit of dark under there for a bit of shadow there. That's gone down a little bit too far there, but never mind. I'll lift that out a bit later. Okay, so what I tried to do there, it's easier if it's flat, was to put it in heavy, the paint in heavy, and hope it would bleed across, but it didn't bleed very well, did it? Oh, let's just encourage a little bit. Well, that's a bit better. And we'll have some red roofs. My red is burnt sienna. But just keep a tiny margin. You don't want the one colour to run across there, so. That's Facebook telling me that somebody commented on or liked one of my paintings. All these are on Facebook. The links to the videos. The Patreon, well, you'd have to. Patreon is a crowdfunding site, and you have to pay a little bit of money to watch a lot of exclusive videos. And I got about getting on for 300 videos on there. Now, what I'm not very good at is getting these parallel. I forget. So it would help. So let's have a slightly darker one here. Whoops, not that dark. So there's no standing order or anything like that. It's, you're asked if you contribute about $4 for a month's worth. You can see all those videos for $4. Now there. Okay, I'll go back to that now. So I want a bit of catching the light, a bit of yellow, a bit of raw sienna. You know, you're asked if you want to continue. You don't have to do a standing order. It's automatically deducted until you stop it. Oh, that's that. A little bit of grey in there, or shadow. We'll carry that through there. We'll assume that is a clapboard house or barn, wooden barn. Let's just ease that over there. Okay, the same there. I'm going to put a bit of Payne's grey, a warm Payne's grey. Okay, carry on with that around the corner. So a lot of these barns were painted black, or with bitumen or preservative. Right, let's have a little bit of just something in here. Put a house in there. Put a farmhouse in the distance. Okay, well that's looking okay. I just want to just get that across there. Oh. Right. That will be a nice bit of gouache in there. Right, I'm going to do a bit of wriggle work now. So a bit of blue, bit of Payne's grey, but on the blue side, plenty of water, and we'll start going. These are long spindly trees. Rather than the usual oaks. It's just to show a bit of distance. If you're struggling with what we call aerial perspective, as distinct from linear perspective, it's achieving a perspective by the use of colour, as well as making things smaller and more less distinct as they go into the distance. So, and Frank Clark, if you watch him, he's a lovely guy, lovely Irish guy. Got lots of stuff. Makes videos for Irish TV. And he's got a mnemonic. Have some more fun. HSMF. You might do well to, if you're a beginner, be well to write that down. Have some more fun. Horizon, sky, middle, foreground. Okay, and if you remember that, remember the sky is the lightest, the middle distance is slightly darker on the horizon, and then the foreground is all the warm colours. And the thing to remember, that don't overclutter your foreground. When we look, that's the object there. We're not looking down at our feet, we're looking at that. So don't anchor. You can put stuff in the foreground, of course, but don't do too much of it, is what I'm really trying to say. There we go. So let's come up here. Oh. So cool colours. If you're abstracting, of course, you can put whatever colours you like. It's a mental thing, isn't it? Funny thing, I do like painting abstracts. Abstracts meaning that there's some thought in them, but I also like doing abstract expressionism, which I've demonstrated quite a few times over the years. But it's good to do different styles. You know, it doesn't have to mean anything, abstraction, even though you might have a bit of thought in it. But if it looks nice, but the criteria is for a viewer, do they like it or not? Not, oh, that's rubbish, because you don't understand it. There's nothing to understand about abstract. You either like it or you don't, and that's the whole point of it. Let's just get some bit of a forest in there. I'll probably put a bit of ivy, if she doesn't mind, up some of these. I'm just using the palette grey, look. Just slightly darker than the background. I want that dark there because I'm going to paint over it. Just a little bit left to do in here. I don't know what sort of trees they are. I'm not a botanist or arborealist. But the trees they've got slender trunks and they go up like poplars. But these are poplars, I don't know what they're called. But they're lovely in the distance. And you can add, I'm going to add a bit of ivy to that. Get my script brush. Slightly darker than, well, not really. Just a little bit, it's just sort of, yeah, just a little bit darker. Don't panic, it's all dries lighter. But we don't want warm colours in that distance there. This is where we start getting warmer. Right, okay, so that'll do. A little bit here, in there. Finger painting, probably the best brush of the lot. Okay, right. Now, what we're going to do, we need to detail a bit of this foreground now with a bit of tricky stuff. Ooh. A bit of bramble. Put a few bits up here. I can put reflect shadows from them. Right, okay. I'll give that a bit of a dry, then I'll go back over that. I'll put that bit in there. Now we've got a bit of snow, so we'll put a bit of snow in. I'll use what brush shall I use? I'll use this little flat. My mate Alan Owen sent me that one. So a bit of white, a bit of colour in it. I might put some black on there. won't be any on that roof, I don't think. There, let's just put a little bit of shadow under the eaves, well, under the edge there. Let's just drag that down a little bit there, soften it. Right, okay, now that white, I don't know if it'll show, I hope it shows. Yeah. Right, now we'll have a little bit in there, a sparkle in there. Probably doesn't show there because there's quite a bit of sparkle in the. Whoops. No, we'll leave that alone, I think. Let's just reinstate that a little bit warm. Okay. All right, now a bit of Payne's grey, a bit of just where the snow slipped. Now I'll pinch this from Rolling Hilda. Okay. I don't want to do too much of it. That's gone blue there. All right. I have to do just a bit more blue around that. So a little bit of dark under there. And shadow there. That might show a bit better. All right. Got a little bit of piles of snow along there. Right, now we want to, I just line that off and I'll have to just do that, go back to that. Right, now we've got to put in the bit of snow, right, like the undulations. or some blue. I just mixed a bit of blue and a bit of red, a bit of grey, more blue. See that? Just put some blue in there. It's too blue. Just a little bit of a, okay. That'll work. Right, dry it off and then just give some little blue reflections. And we're nearly there. Need a little bit more blue in that snow area there, so I'll just put that in. A bit of Payne's grey with it as well. And then we'll find a rigger. A little hole around there. Okay, I don't think oh yes, I'm just going to just get that shadow up there a little bit. I'll just enhance that white a little bit, if I can. Right, I'm going to let that go there. I'm going to put a couple of birds in. A couple of rooks. Okay, put a signature on it. We'll sign and put it in a mount. Right, I've just, you saw what I've just done. It's just a bit of blue, 3 birds. The sun's shining on this now. I'm going to have to draw the other blind, I think. So bear with me, otherwise we're going to put that exposure wrong. Right, now I think the dirty blue mount on that would be okay, I think so. So there we are, another winter scene, horizontal. Let's just get that. Right, I'm just going to move up a bit so you can see it. I'm going to check the focus on that. Right, okay. Now just brighten this down a bit. Well, I think that's pretty accurate. This is quite a light blue-grey. Most of the colour is in the middle. I hope you can See that? Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. There will be a photograph of this on Facebook on my Dave Usher artist page, so you can see. But you should be able to see that in the demonstration. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.